Okay, my friends, this is going to be exciting. Now, it just got to this point where this guy is in the same position I'm in, only he is in the university system and they're going after him. I'm going to let him explain what's going on here, but he's in Wits University and he is a National Geographic Road Scholar, apparently. Now, it's saying when were these giants, or when were there giants, or were there giants? It's Lee R. Berger. Now, listen to this now. And his channel is Wits University
Hello again,
Official.
everyone. Welcome back to the University of the Witwatersrand's Fossil Hominid Vault here in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm Lee Berger, a paleoanthropologist here at the university and an explorer at large for the National Geographic Society. This morning, when I opened up my email before coming into the Fossil Vault, I picked up some clickbait on my name, and that's not unusual if you're a public figure scientist. But this one was from a legitimate news source, Discover, and so I opened it, and there was a story about giants. Were there ever giants? And the answer is, according to this, of course, no. But in it, it took a tagline from me saying Lee Berger, the paleoanthropologist, had once claimed that there were hominids that may have reached 7 foot tall and over 90 kilograms, and there was little evidence for that. Well, since it was questioning evidence that perhaps I had presented, I decided that since I was coming into the vault, I'd show you some of that evidence and let's discuss what's behind this supposed controversy. Now, why first would other scientists, and Discover was taking this from other scientists, it just wasn't bad reporting, would they criticize me having said that there were very large individuals in the past that might have approached 7 foot? Well, this all comes from a paper that Steve Churchill, John Parkington, and myself wrote back several years ago about the Hoochie's pint tibia.
All right, he's just going to explain what they were criticizing for no reason whatsoever. And he had the evidence, and they're saying there was little evidence. Well, let me show you the evidence I have, and they won't come after me because I have so much evidence, there's no way in the world they can say I don't have it. And here it is, and it is spectacular. 7 feet is well, I'm going to show you a hand. It's half that big. All right, the issue is they don't understand. All they're dealing with is scraps of bones, which bones are things that all the meat has rotted away. Mud fossils are just the opposite. The bones have transitioned into what it's nucleophilic invasion, it's called. And the reason the bones go away is because they're way down here, and you have what's called electrophiles and neutrophiles, and they mix together in the middle using these transition metals. I have bones all over the place. That's a bone. You see that? That's a bone. There's no white-looking bone stuff in calcium. This has transitioned into a stable form of the biological material, because biology is never stable until once you die, it's no longer transferring back and forth continuously, 24 hours a day. Every single molecule in your body is continuously on the move, and it's never stable. So when you die, it has to find stability. If it's in a wet, salty, about 7.3, some 7.4 right in that area, pH for a long duration of time, all of the fascia-coated parts, which even skin is fascia, organs, even a goose, its feathers and everything, it coats, whatever coats you from the rest of the world, that will set up stability, and then everything else inside will have to turn into stone with this nucleophilic invasion. And if you know what to look at, you can find all of the, that's the neck right there. But you need to, it's no longer bones and tissue. It has turned into stone. And I have these things have blood coming, literally blood coming out of them. That hand is 3 feet wide. Now, not a single academic will discuss with me because they know I have so much evidence. That's DNA certified. That's a left hand. This is the pad around the hand. You put your hand out like that. You can't miss it. This is even the color of it. You see this? And that's the little tendon-looking thing that runs down your hand. The exact same thing. This is what they call grip skin. and that is a different coating, which is a very dense, thick skin, and it covers this. And I have bigger than this. This is 3 feet wide, and I have the fingertips. Well, here's a fingertip right here, DNA certified. So that's, I'm not guessing. That's a fingertip. And you show any anatomist, they know what that is. That's where the apical tuft is. These are the pads of the finger underneath the fingertip, and it was all DNA certified. I have other things. I have knuckles, and I have all kinds of stuff from this one, and I have other ones all over the place here. So, it's time to look at this stuff with a whole new light. 7 feet tall is just nothing. This is 3 feet wide. I mean, it might even be wider. I can't remember. This goes back 10 years. So it's time to look at this and finally acknowledge it, because, you know, it's just like this guy said, oh, the obvious answer is no, there's no giants, these people are all crazy. Well, no. The people that are denying it are the crazy ones, because if you could see the evidence I have and then deny it, you're either 100% incompetent or a fraud or a liar. There's no other options. Those are the three, and if you select the incompetence, well, you shouldn't be teaching. All right, I extracted samples from 3 different specimens here, giants, exactly like they talked about in the Bible. They said that the people were grasshoppers compared to them. And if you see the stuff that's on the walls of these tombs and so forth, they show a guy washing the foot of the guy, of the ruler, and he's only up to his big toe. That's it. And this is what it would be, because wait till I show you the one I have, and I'm going to show you the report says the DNA was dense. This is PCR DNA tested. I had 3 of them tested: a lung, that hand that I showed you, and a gigantic fingertip. And I'll show you all 3 samples. Well, here's a excellent quality DNA sequence obtained for the 36-inch tip and a lung. Now, the mud hand that I showed you is just so obvious you can't miss it. It didn't have as dense of DNA because it was more replaced with, it was more of a muddy condition where it had a lot of more flow of moisture through it. But it's still solidified in its anatomical form, and there was still the DNA. It was in there, but it wasn't as dense. That's all. And this is a certified test, validated by Helix Biolabs, verified by the lab director. So if anybody wants to sample them and test them, they're here. And here's the lung. Hold on. If there's an anatomist in the world says not a lung, I would love to know what kind of anatomy that he understands, because that is a lung. That's the pattern of the pleura on the lung. That's the investment in the bottom. That's the investment in the top. That's the depression of the heart in the back. That died in a flood and laid flat there in the mud. Tissues do not get invaded. The membranes don't get invaded like the fleshy, muscles and stuff, because they're coated with this fascia. Fascia lives in 7.35 pH environment in your body, and it doesn't go away. It stays there to protect what's inside. If you die and you're in the 7.35, and I've done this, I made my own Mudfossil, it's absolutely easy. You have to keep a 7.35-ish pH in a muddy, salty, sandy waters, and like I did it with chicken tissue, and it took about 6 months, and it turned into exactly the same thing, virtually identical, because it transitions the biological unstable particles into stable particles. They don't look a whole lot different. Sometimes they look like that mud one is totally different. But this is almost like fascia. Let me show you fascia, living fascia. See, that's living fascia. That's the same exact stuff, and that is where this is right here. That's it's a interstitial latch. That is the latch. Let me show you. I have one here, a rock that has the same exact thing in it. Here it is right here. That's the same latch. And this is just stone now, but it's muscle. They just don't understand this. It's called nucleophilic substitution, or nucleophilic invasion, but it's always by biological thing. Well, it's by any chemistry that is unstable, and then you put it in a watery situation where all the things can flow through it, and it will find the molecules that it needs to become stable, one way or the other. It may be really spectacular looking, and it may be just dull looking basalt or whatever it is, mud, like I'm showing. Like that. That's just, oh, that's just a rock. No, it is not. That was a bone, and it separates because all the fleshy stuff erodes into what they call mud, and the bones turn into what they call rocks. That's feathers. All of the stuff they call feldspar is this fabric. That's all. Feldspar is nothing. Feldspar is just a word. Feldspar is this stuff right here. It's fabric. Time to look this thing over again and start to understand mud fossils.